Hello, and welcome back to another brain stream where we talk about everything about the future of the computer or the future of man and machine, of what this new operating system looks like, how people are going to use computers, what they're going to look like, everything like that. My name's, I should probably introduce myself. My name's Avram Raskin, and actually, the format of this brain stream is about 10 minutes of unscripted, unfiltered thoughts on everything around augmented reality, spatial computing, artificial intelligence, things like that. Um, or projects I'm working on, conversations I've had with people. The last month or two has all been about AI in the iPhone. And the last few days have been about the future of the operating system in the interface, where I'm focusing more on the personal assistant and I'm working on this idea or introducing this idea of LayerOS, which, if you were listening yesterday, if you tuned into yesterday's brain stream, it was the inspiration of it came from the overhead projector, the film projector, where you could stack layers of transparent papers on top of each other, transparent film. And this can build up into an image. And this is the way or the metaphor that I see what the operating system could look like or how we could interact with it post app. So, what is that? I dived into it yesterday, but the next couple of weeks are going to be working my way through it. So, thoughts are going to be building and we're going to get to it. So, if you're fascinated with this idea of what is this operating system of the future going to look like? What's going to happen after laptops, computers? What's going to happen after smartphones? What will the smartphone look like? Will it morph into something a little bit different, or will there be something completely different? You're going to want to join me on the next few weeks as we meander through this. I'm not going to come with one specific solution at the end of the day. Um, at the end of the day, we will come up with this with how it's going to look. But each brain stream is not going to have a direct specific thing necessarily of this is how it's going to work. We are going to be building up towards that. Um, so the post app world, the app is the issue that I see with the app is it's a container that's been designed by one specific company in order to usually achieve one or a few things. A big problem that I have with apps as a user, as an end user, not as a designer, but as an end user, is that so many apps try do very similar things. And what you end up with is multiple apps that have functionality that overlap with each other in crazy different ways. Now, if you think about that layer metaphor, it's almost like imagine if you had transparent sheets that instead of instead of each layer having a complementing artwork that builds up into this beautiful um, portrait at the end, imagine you had multiple layers of competing artwork that each, let's say you want to end it up with a face. Let's say each layer had a face drawn in different ways. Um, some would have missing parts of the face, but at the end, they're all trying to paint a sort of portrait. Now, some might be painting portraits of animals, some might be painting portraits of humans, some might be um, doing different art forms, but they're all trying to achieve a similar goal um, with overlapping. When they overlap, the end result is going to be chaos and uncertainty. But if you have a overarching goal that you want to get to, and each layer complemented and worked on the layer below it, such that they did not get into each other's ways, but they harmoniously work together to achieve this beautiful end goal, then you have a piece of art. Then you have something that is beautiful. In the same way, I think the operating system should be like that. Like, so in the past, this desktop metaphor was very good in order to be able to take what we currently know and how we currently work and to digitize that to help get things done faster. And this has worked for decades. The problem is that in the ensuing years, um, work has changed fundamentally of how we get work done. And where we're getting work is also changed and is changing. An office metaphor does not work for a world where a lot of work is not necessarily going to be done on the office. Any metaphor that requires you to sit and focus at one um, sustained period of time. Let's call it Let's call it synchronous working. Just this idea of like, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm going to be productive now, as opposed to maybe getting work done over a period of time or as thoughts come to you, as inspiration hits, as creativity hits, um, you can get work done. So I think a few of these things come together in like showing of why I don't like this app. Um, or not that why I don't like it. I mean, it serves itself well. I mean, we get crazy stuff done with our computers. But as we move forward, it makes me think, is this the best way forward? Or should we be looking at a different way of working? Do I want to forever work in a way where I must always find a stable surface to place my laptop? That the only way that I'm going to be creative um, is if I have a bigger screen and I'm sitting down at a certain point and I'm close to an outlet that my machine's always going to be charged up, that I'm working within the framework of a metaphor that's been designed decades ago, that doesn't truly take into account how we think or how different people think. The operating system is the operating system. Um, you have a few variants of it, and you have the big ones that everyone's using and the applications that are then designed for those systems, but they're all working inside of that metaphor. They don't, you have accessibility features, but you can't say there's any computer nowadays that specifically really understands the user and helps work the way that that user thinks, or how they are motivated, or how they um, get into a flow of creativity. Um, it's not designed for them. And each app, each company that designs an app, they're thinking about their specific goals, and you end up with having multiple competing apps, which isn't necessarily a problem by in of itself. But the issue becomes when you suddenly now are thinking in terms of like, okay, which app best serves me. If I came to you and said, hey, I'm going to give you a choice of these 5 apps, and you got to figure out which one gives you the best features, or I'm going to make you a custom app that works with you, and every day, week, month, this app will add features and morph itself into the way that your organization works, that you guys think, that you guys process things. Which would you choose? Would you choose the app that's been developed by massive companies that have raised tons of money, but specific that most likely neither of them achieves specifically what you want to achieve, and you have to wait for features to, to come out. You're putting in multiple feature requests, and if the bigger the company, the less likely they're going to listen to your specific feature request. That does not seem to me the best way of working, and I'm thinking now from a business or organization standpoint, but even as a person, as a user, this idea of like relying on an app to always be working and to have the functionality that I want, and that it doesn't overlap with another app that has, you know, this app has through, let's say 30% of the functionality I have, and this one has 20%. Like they don't all work together, as I was talking about yesterday. So I really do see this as something that base functionality and features get built into the base layer, but every company gets to add in layers on top of it. And what happens is you end up having an app or a user interface that morphs itself. It's made up from multiple companies and multiple features, but neither is trying to design the same feature that someone else has designed and just add one more feature. They either get their feature set that they're specifically working on and do it amazingly, or someone else completely overtakes them. But you're never reliant on one specific app, because each one of them is a layer that builds up to what you are trying to do. And the interface morphs. The interface is designed for you. It's for lack of like the design language or the words behind it, your AI morphs and builds your system, your interface for you as you get work done. So you get started as your intent of what I need to do, and as you require features, those layers get served to you in a way of, oh, do you need this? And then if you're not using it for a while, or if the system can see that you're not interested in it, it kind of seamlessly blends into the background. It kind of disappears until it's called up again. The interface gets built up for the work that you're trying to do right now. I haven't even talked about conversation in this brainstream. I'm just talking about how these layers build up and how they kind of get stacked away. But the main point is that your user interface gets morphed from the ground up for you, customized, instead of one company developing everything. Anyways, I'll see you.